The COVID-19 pandemic wrecked the 2020 motorsports season for race organizers and racers. But motorsports is making a comeback this year. In this edition of Race Weekend, we get in touch with Milo Rivera to discuss how the pandemic affected his motorsports plans and his performance in recent races. The year 2021 may be remembered as the year Philippine motorsports got revived from a coma caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. For more than a year, racing was mostly confined to the digital world, with many local motorsports heroes turning to sim races on virtual tracks to save their thirst for competition. Milo Rivera, 5-time slalom king, was not among them, and he explains why.
When the pandemic hit, it was an opportunity for me to take my mind out of motorsports. And when I say by that, even online races, lalo na a few months into the pandemic, there were announcements and events coming up in terms of online racing. And of course, I'm not gonna lie, there were people who asked me, why don't you join and why don't you continue the racing lifestyle through online while we're in the middle of the pandemic. My brother obviously said yes, and he actually doing very well at that, and I admire him for being always having an opportunity to be on top both online and in actual racing. But for me, it was all part of the whole test muna and all that. Although I have to admit as well, once we had the rig, I took some time to just practice, drive around, use it offline, and just to keep my body flowing in terms of the basics of motorsports.
While Milo took the opportunity presented by the COVID-19 pandemic to somehow get away from motorsports, it was surely a temporary thing. Like many motorsports enthusiasts, weekend or career racers alike, Milo was just waiting for the opportunity to get back to real-life racing. For him, that opportunity came when the IATF finally allowed motorsports to resume, albeit under strict protocols. And he got a call from the GAC Motor Racing Team, which was looking to reprise or surpass achievements earned at endurance races in 2019. Back then, GAC bagged 4 titles: the 2019 Kalayaan Cup 4-hour endurance race championship, manufacturers class, the Kalayaan Cup 12-hour endurance championship manufacturers class, the Bonifacio Cup 4-hour endurance championship manufacturers class, and the Bonifacio Cup 4-hour endurance championship open category.
Honestly, the GAC seat happened out of nowhere. I was just at home, and then Easy Ligaya, the team manager, just gave me a call and said if I wanted to have a seat for their endurance team. And of course, in a heartbeat, I said yes.
The invitation was for Milo to join Andre Tan, Cody Nang, Patrick Mendoza, and Brennan Lim as drivers for the GAC Motor Racing Team competing in the 2021 Petron Kalayaan Cup 12-hour endurance challenge. The GAC Motor Racing Team competing in the Open B category with a GA4 1.5 manual car bagged the 2021 Kagitingan Cup 6-hour race championship and the 2021 Kalayaan Cup 4-hour race championship. The GAC team also finished second overall in the main 12-hour endurance race. Milo enjoyed getting back to racing on a real track and a real team.
They're a great bunch of guys, and even if people weren't looking at us as favorites, we had our own expectations coming into the race, and that was to gun for the win. Even if our car was underpowered compared to everybody else, we had our other weapons to keep us afloat and to keep us winning, and that's what proved to be, kumbaga, our winning formula. Not to mention any specifics, but we got the job done and we were enjoying it at the same time. Plus, for me and other members of our team, it was really refreshing to be back on the track, even if it's not like full-on competitiveness. Just to be on the track racing, going head-to-head, wheel-to-wheel with other cars. that's all we could ask for after all that's been happening.
For Milo, coming out of the endurance race with Manufacturers Class Championships and second place overall in the main 12-hour race reflects a lot on the character and winning qualities of the GAC Motor Racing Team and the GA4 race car.
The car was stock, although meron mga modifications in terms of suspension, lightening, and all that. But the engine is the same engine that is being sold to the market. So I guess that's more than enough justification to show how strong these engines are in terms of longevity. We did not win the race because of performance, but we won it because of durability, consistency, agility, diba? Which in my opinion was the main objective of the weekend. We weren't there to be the fastest car, but we were there to be the most durable car, the most endurance car, so to speak. Kasi 12 hours is 12 hours. That was very long.
After the Kalayaan Cup, Milo soon found himself racing in the 2021 Formula V1 Race Challenge, driving for a front row racing team.
The event started to pop up opportunities as well. And given those opportunities, we tried to make a decision or try to plan things out well so that I could get myself a seat. And apparently, Front Row Racing Team had an available seat for the Formula V1 season this year. And I guess it was wise for us to just grab a hold of that opportunity, not just to represent Front Row, but also to be able to be back on track.
In the first leg of the 2021 Formula V1 Race Challenge held at the Clark International Speedway, Milo competed against the likes of Daniel Miranda of Toyota Marilla Avengers Racing Team, Red Diva of OTR Racing, and Juicy Hoika of Growl Tool Racing. 4 races were held in the first leg with Milo scoring a win and 2 second-place finishes. As the motorsports revival this year is coming to a close, Milo is looking forward to another stint with the GAC Motor Racing competing in the 2021 Bonifacio Cup 8-hour endurance race at the Batangas Racing Circuit and the second leg of the Formula V1 Race Challenge. Milo also has his eyes on other motorsports events this year and in 2022.
For the rest of the year, it's pretty much straightforward. We still have the endurance races coming up before the year ends, as well as the Formula V1 Challenge. Also, other events are coming our way in terms of slalom races, autocross races, even the Vios Cup. Wherever or whatever race that I can get myself involved in, whether as a driver, as an official, as someone behind the scenes, that already is something I very much look forward to all the time. Because the sport is just that close to me. It's been that close to me for a very long time. And even for a much longer time, I think I'll be associated with the sport as the days go on. Well, for 2022, anything and everything is possible. We can start racing more races here in the country, or we can start resuming races abroad as well. Like I said, anything can happen, and the only thing that we can do for now, is, at least for my end, is to always be ready, always stay sharp, always stay conditioned, and be ready for each race.
To close, Milo also looked on the efforts of everyone in the motorsports community who has made it possible to hold local races anew, not just for him, but for other racers as well.
This is the opportunity for me to thank a lot of people or a lot of parties behind the racing I've been having. Definitely to my family since day one, since when I was 12 years old. It started as racing go-karts. My brother and I have been still strongly being by our side through thick and thin. Not just in racing, but in everything in life. Also, I'd like to thank each mechanic, each crew member, each race engineer I've worked with and continue to work with. Motorsports, I can definitely say, is a team sport, and it's not just the driver who gets the victories. but I think a big portion of that also is due to the hardworking men and women behind the car, and behind the team. And I could only say thank you, and I could only show 100% appreciation every single day for them. So I'd like to thank Front Row for giving me this Formula V1 seat for this year. It's truly a fun and exhilarating experience to be behind the wheel, regardless if you're serious or not. But obviously, for me, I'd always want to gun for the win, but I do so with enjoyment. So I thank Front Row for giving me the seat to be able to enjoy what I do and to gun for the win while I'm at it. Other sponsors are Petron Corporation and the United Auctioneers. They've been with me for several years, and I couldn't be more appreciative for their support as well. Just full appreciation to everybody in the motorsports community who've been doing every single thing to make motorsports alive and well again. We've been seeing great progress with the events happening right now, and things could only get even better as the days go on, as this year ends, and hopefully as 2022 starts, it will be even bigger than what we see already, even with the pandemic going on.
Milo Rivera, like all racers, whether professional or amateur, is just happy to get back to competing on the track. All are praying the COVID-19 pandemic will finally run through its course and allow more racing to resume.